Hey guys, it's the Unsmooth Criminal. I am back with part 2 of What If Deku was Catwoman from DC, or uh, the DCU, the DC Universe. So in the last part, she just stole some documents from UA and gave them to Shigaraki. And they're roughly 14 in this one, so Shigaraki asked for the documents that said had All Might on them. And so she's like, sure, I'll get them to you. And so she stole them, gave them to Shigaraki. She's currently on a rooftop counting her money. And someone walks up behind her. And she noticed them walking up behind her, and she asks, why are you behind me? And this, what sounded like a child, said, I am here to stop the thief Catwoman. And she goes, sorry, but I'm not going to stop. And he goes, I wasn't asking, I'm here to take you in. And she goes, what are you, some kind of pro hero? And she turns around and she sees a man in a mask. And she sees him, he's roughly her age. And she's like, you're no pro hero. And he's like, no, I don't care for all the fame and fortune that comes with being a pro hero. I honestly don't want that to be my job. I want to do this for fun. And she goes, what's your quirk? And he goes, I'm quirkless. Well, technically, I am quirkless, but my quirk is being rich. And she goes, oh no, you're funny. And he goes, I'm not joking. That's how I can get this. And he presses a button and a net shoots out of nowhere. And she dodges it barely. And she goes, man, so aggressive. And he goes, well, if I don't distract you, you're not going to be able to be caught. But if I do distract you, you're able to be caught. So, I kind of like my odds when I distract you. And she goes, meow, aggressive much? And he heard this and was like, bruh. But on the inside, he's like, I didn't know she looked that good. So, he's at a dilemma. He wants to take her in for stealing documents from places and being a thief, but he also doesn't. So, we skip a few months to they're 14. Yes, I'm just saying they're 14-ish. Now, Serena has just turned 15, and her roommate's throwing her a little shindig. And Serena's roommate's like, oh, I'm going to surprise her and call Aizawa. And so she called Aizawa, and Aizawa came over with a special guest. And this guest is a vigilante, and she recognized his figure and is like, so he's the one that caught me. Oh. And so he walks in and she goes, oh, hey, Racerhead, and who may this little snack be? And he goes, this is a billionaire that I have adopted because his parents have died in an alley. And I would like to see if you would become friends with him. Because he wants to be a hero, and I think that you and your quirk could show that mutation quirks could be hero quirks. And she goes, optimistic much? And he goes, no. I'll just leave you two to talk. And he walks and sits down on the sofa, and Aizawa says, can I talk to you? And he looks at the roommate, and she goes, sure, why not? And he walks out of the room with her, and Catwoman goes serious face like, why are you here? And he goes, because I found you. And she goes, okay, but why are you here? I'm not doing anything illegal. And he goes, no, you're not. But now I can sincerely tell you that I know where to find you when you leave your little escapades in someone else's property. And she goes, first off, this place is barely paid for. I'm 1 week behind on my rent. And second off, I didn't use any of that goddamn money. And she turns on the news and it says, breaking news. #1 villain has donated to a charity for sick people. He's like, what? And she goes, that is what I do. And he goes, and the newscaster says, oh my God, we got another update. Apparently the #1 hero convinced the #1 villain to get rid of all of his money and send it to charity. And he goes, you did not take that all of his money. And she goes, no, I didn't ask for all of his money. He doesn't have any more money though. And all of a sudden the entire country feels this heavy weight on them. Except for the children's hospital that has the sick people in it. Except for them. He's like, oh, damn it. I can use their quirks later. Once they get healed, I can use their quirks later. And he's just putting this weight over everybody. And All Might, at this time, does not have the scar or injury, appears and goes, I'm here in front of All for One. And they fight. And the newscaster's like, breaking news. All Might has engaged the #1 villain. And All Might is joking with the #1 villain, pulling his strings, making him angry, making him off his game. And All Might's like, oh, I didn't know you were such a softie for sick people. And Serena's watching this, and she's just watching and watching and watching. And she sees All Might talking. And she thinks, he probably watched the news just a few minutes ago when the wait started, and he went straight to the pressure because he knew who it was. And he's like, you are such a nuisance. And she goes, no, I'm a problem. Not a nuisance. The difference between a problem and a nuisance is a nuisance doesn't go away. Problem does. I only show up when I'm in costume. And Aizawa was listening to this entire conversation while still talking to the roommate. And Aizawa says, do you know where she goes at night? And she goes, yeah, she goes to her dishwashing job. She goes everywhere around town to dishwash at different places. And he goes, okay, what else? And she goes, she normally doesn't get back till early, and she normally looks very, very tired. And he goes, okay. Do you know anything else? She goes, no. Why? And he goes, I'm only letting you in on this secret because I feel like you're being deceived. And she goes, okay. And Serena from the other room calls, Barbara! And she goes, what? And she goes, you need to see this. This is freaking hilarious. And Barbara goes, what do you mean? And she had the TV paused, and Barbara runs into the room, and it says, breaking news. Batgirl and Catwoman have teamed up and stopped the villains from actually buying illegal drugs. And they show the evidence, they show what happened and what they put together, and this anonymous email saying the entire story, claiming that this emailer is Catwoman and Batgirl, because I'm adding Batgirl. Sorry. And Barbara sees this and starts laughing her ass off, being like, damn, Catwoman is good. She goes, I know, right? It's like she's the best thief in the world. Barbara, knowing exactly who Serena is, goes, yeah, I know. And they play it off like they don't know who this is. And Eraserhead picks up on the subtle changes in Barbara every time that Serena talks about how they don't know who she is, and she reciprocates that. So it's like, oh crap. And he goes, I got one question for all of you. You're a vigilante. I know you are, because you fight like I trained you. Are you and you both the vigilantes? Well, you're not a vigilante. You're just a thief. She goes, I'm not a thief. I'm a cat burglar. He goes, okay, cat burglar. And are you the vigilante, Batgirl? She goes, no. I'm not a vigilante. I'm a true hero. I don't need a hero's license because I don't care for being in the spotlight. And he goes, then what's that? And she goes, some evidence that we kind of put together to give you guys a reason to arrest All for One, besides just murder and just downright being a scumbag. And he goes, okay. And second question. And he turns to Serena. You know, and she goes, I do know, and you don't need to ask a question. I won't. And he goes, then you're going. And she goes, no, I'm not. You have to catch me first. And Barbara goes, really? Just go. Go. You'll be fed. They'll give you a place to live. And she goes, but I don't want to. And she goes, I know you don't want to. But... And she whispers something into Serena's ear and says, if you go, that will happen. And Serena goes red in the face and she goes, shut up or I will cut you. And Barbara goes, oh, she's going to assault me. And she starts backing up behind Eraserhead and he's like, God damn it. And Serena's like, okay, fine. I'll go on one condition. And he goes, what's the condition? He goes. And he goes, he's already going, so. And then she goes, okay, I'll go. And Eraserhead's like, okay. I'm thinking of a B name for the guy, but I don't want to say Bruce. I already got Barbara. Her last name's not Gordon, by the way. It's Naomasa Suguchi. Her last name's Suguchi. What else? It's Serena Kyle. I don't know what to name the ship yet. I don't know what to give the name for the ship. I'm not going to put Bruce. Because his last name's Aizawa. Bruce Aizawa. Doesn't go well. So you guys need to give me a name for the ship. You guys already know what the ship is. So, we skip to the first day of UH. She's like, I don't want to do this. And Barbara's like, I'm going, he's going, you're going. And she goes, but. And she goes, no buts. My father would kill me if he knew I was doing this. If I didn't do this without a license. She goes, yeah, but that's your father, not mine. And she says, yeah, and he treats you like a daughter too. She goes, yeah, true. And she goes, if you do this, and we tell him that we got our license, he won't be mad at us. And she goes, but I'm a thief, I'm not a hero. And she goes, oh, really? And she plays a clip of Catwoman saving someone's life from a burning building. And she goes, that was a fluke, and you know it. And she goes, no, that wasn't a fluke. What that was someone intelligent enough to know that they needed help. And she goes, but it's a fluke. Because that wasn't a fluke. She goes, yes, it was. It was a fluke, and you know it. I wouldn't do that to anybody. She goes, I know. Now get in there before I torture you. And she goes, don't you dare. And she brings out a bag and says, this is the good stuff. She goes, frick off or I will cut you. And she goes, fine, you don't get the good stuff. And she puts it back in a little bag that's airtight. And Serena smells just a tiny bit of it and goes, give me it. And she goes, when you walk into the classroom, I will give it to you. And she goes, give me it now. And she's about to attack Serena. Or not. Serena's about to attack Barbara. And she goes, when you attack me, you lose out on a bag. And she is seething with rage. Because she's not getting what she wants. So she tries to cool down and calm down. And Barbara knows exactly what she's trying to do. She's trying to pull a pickpocket maneuver. And she goes, come any closer and I'll burn it. And she flicks a lighter and she's right underneath the bag that she was holding. And she goes, give me it. And she goes, nope, not until you walk in. She goes, fine. And she walks into the room and she goes, give me it now. And Barbara goes, okay. And she hands her a tiny bag. And she goes, the bigger bag. And she goes, no, not until after class. And she goes, and she walks to her seat, sits down, and she just has the bag in front of her nose. And she's just, and she's waiting for lunch. And Aizawa, hearing her almost yelling in a demonic voice, saying, give me it, is like, so that's how she controls her. Okay. And Aizawa locks the cabinet. And she heard this and goes, he locked something. I must see. And she walks over to the desk and goes, so what did you lock? And he goes, nothing. And she goes, oh, really? And what's in this drawer? And points at the drawer that is currently locked. And he goes, nothing. Absolutely nothing. And he goes, oh, really? So if I happen to open this drawer, there would be nothing in it. And he goes, nope, nothing. Absolutely nothing. And Barbara's like, oh, crap. He has some here. So she walks over and goes, you want the big bag? And she goes, yes. And she's in a demonic voice because she just wants it. And she goes, okay, I changed my mind. It's not after school. If you sit down, you get the big bag. And she goes, oh, okay. And she runs to her seat, jumps in her seat, and sits down. And Aizawa mouths, thank you, to her. And she goes, no problem. And she goes, as long as you don't tell my father I was doing it, I'm fine. He goes, that's easy. And Aizawa stands up and is like, so problem, children. You saw that little incident and you shut up right while that incident was going on. Good for you. You shut up 10 seconds before the bell. Now, get outside. And Barbara walks over, hands her a bag, and says, there you go. That's all I have for today. And she goes, mine. And Barbara goes, I don't want it. And she goes, still mine. And she goes, okay, whatever. And she walks away and she sits at her seat and he goes, okay, everybody get to the changing room and change. And she waits for everybody to leave and then it's like, mine. And she's walking out of the room and she has her catnip in a small airtight box that Barbara gave her. So the scent doesn't go away. And she still smells catnip. And Aizawa goes, go. I'm waiting for you guys to leave. Go. Shoo. And she's like, what do I smell? And he's like, oh, crap. And Barbara walks in and goes, if we don't hurry, you're not getting any more catnip tomorrow. And her eyes widen, going, I hate how you control me with damn catnip. And she goes, exactly. Now, get going. And Aizawa's like, oh God, what would I do without her? And he hears something in the back of his mind, and it says, nothing. You do nothing without me. And he's looking around, and she goes, don't worry, I'm a telepath. And he goes, what? And she goes, yeah, I'm a telepath. Just think of stuff, and I can hear it. And he goes, so if I think of this, and she goes, disgusting. And she said that out loud, and Serena's like, so you saw into his mind, did you? And she goes, yeah. And in 3, 2, 1, Jiro, poke your headphones jack through the hole. And she goes, what hole? And she points at it and goes, oh, sure. And her headphone jack goes through the hole, and it slams Mineta into the eye. And she goes, what was that for? And she goes, I had very bad vibes from him, so I kept reading his mind, and he was thinking, boobs, 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 all the time. And he's screaming on the other side, being, ah, my eye, ah. And Jiro's like, oh. Okay. So he's a pervert. They go, yeah, he is. And I'm going to leave it off there. Maybe. Yeah, I'm going to leave it off there. I'm shortening these ones. These ones are fun when I do it in short bursts, because I want to make sure this stays fun. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Talk to you guys later.